The franchise lends itself so well to this. That's one of the reasons we invest in a franchise. I didn't mention that as I was sharing my background, but for those who didn't know, that first piece of business that I was referring to was a franchise. And I'm invested as a minority partner in a franchise today. So I love the franchise concept, even for someone like me, who I would consider a fairly experienced business owner, have had multiple businesses. But to your question, one of the key components, and this is not in any particular order, is that you have systems in place that are repeatable. The E-Myth talks about this. We're working on your business, not in your business. The only way that you can, there's two parts to it to be able to accomplish that. But one is having the systems in place. Most good franchises, certainly the ones that you represent, give you those systems, right? Sure, you might augment it. You might make them specific to your location or particular implementation, but that's one of the benefits of buying a franchise. So what I see with franchise owners that get hung up on this, they're not willing to execute the systems that have already been developed for you and that have been proven. So if you will just execute those systems as a franchise owner, or augment them if you need to in areas that maybe they're not as strong, that's the first step. You have to have the systems in place, and then you have to execute those systems. Franchises are perfect for this. That's the idea of a franchise. You're not trying to invent the wheel. You're implementing your version of that wheel that's already been invented at your particular location, right? So that's first and foremost, Giuseppe, the systems.
Systems are big. Yeah, you need to automate, and that's how you grow. That's how you expand the business. If the systems aren't in place, if you're that cog in the machine, right, you're kind of getting in the way, or the bottleneck, I should say, it really slows things down. So you can't expand the business. And then you can't sell the business because now
you can't sell the business because it's dependent on you. And that's the thing. If when you go years to sell your business, no matter what type of business it is, a savvy buyer or the buyer that's going to pay you a premium is going to very quickly realize, oh, if Henry's not there, nothing happens. If Henry disappears, his clients go with him. If Henry's not there making all of the big decisions, nobody decides anything. So I'm looking to then replace Henry, and that's not what people are willing to buy. They're certainly not going to pay a premium for that. Now, a franchise, again, is built around that concept. So what does that mean for you? From day one, when you go to that training, you got to buy into the system that they are giving you, right? You've got to buy into that recipe. Be willing to execute it. So that's part of it. The second part of it is one of the ways that we execute it and we remove ourselves from the day-to-day is we have to have a team, we have to train them, we have to empower them. And again, that's another area where a franchise is great because a good franchise typically gives you, again, that piece of how to train. You could even send them to the franchisor to train in some cases, certainly your managers, but you have to be willing to let go after you've gotten past that startup phase. And that's where I see owners get hung up, is they're not willing to trust or empower their team.
You have the systems, but do you have the data to prove they work? In the next segment, we dive into the 5 to 10 metrics that determine your business's survival.